I didn't attend my son's wedding. I instead spent the evening with his ex-wife. My son Connor has always been a complete to everyone who's ever loved him. His ex-wife Maya was the sweetest girl you'd ever meet. She'd bring me homemade cookies every weekend, and never missed a single one of my doctor's appointments when I had my heart surgery. Connor treated her like garbage for 3 years straight. He'd disappear for days without telling her where he was going, maxed out their credit cards, buying stupid crypto and gaming equipment, and made her pay for everything while he sat around playing video games all day. Mia worked 2 jobs just to keep their apartment. The final straw was when Mia found out she was pregnant, and Connor literally told her to figure it out because he wasn't ready to be a dad. She was devastated. I watched this beautiful girl who I considered my own daughter slowly break apart because of my son's selfishness. When Maya finally left him, I was honestly relieved. She deserved so much better than the disappointment I raised. Connor blamed everyone but himself. Of course, he moved back in with me and spent 6 months wallowing in self-pity, eating my food and leaving dirty dishes everywhere. Then, out of nowhere, Connor announces he's getting married to some girl named Brianna he met at a bar 3 months ago. 3 months. Meanwhile, he put Maya through hell for years. I met Brianna exactly once and she seemed nice enough, but there was something off about the whole thing. Like, Connor was just trying to prove he could move on faster than Maya. The wedding was scheduled for last Saturday. I got the fancy invitation with the gold lettering and everything. But the same day, I got a text from Maya saying she was in town visiting her mom and asking if I wanted to grab dinner. She said she missed talking to me and that she had some news to share. I didn't even hesitate. I texted Connor that I had food poisoning and couldn't make it to the wedding. Then I put on my nicest shirt and drove to meet Maya at this little Italian place we used to go to when she was married to Connor. When I saw her walk in, my heart nearly stopped. She was glowing in a way I'd never seen before. She sat down across from me with this huge smile and said she had something to tell me. That's when she pulled out this ultrasound photo and slid it across the table. She was 4 months pregnant, and before I could even process what that meant, she explained that she'd been seeing this guy Jake for the past year. He's a teacher, loves kids, and treats her like an absolute queen. They'd gotten married 2 months ago in a small ceremony with just their families. I started crying right there in the restaurant. Happy tears, obviously. Maya reached across and grabbed my hand and said, "I know this might sound weird, but I still think of you as family. Would you want to be this baby's grandpa?" I completely lost it. We sat there for 3 hours talking about everything. She showed me pictures of Jake, told me about their little house with the garden she's been working on, and how excited she was to be a mom. She looked genuinely happy for the first time in years. Meanwhile, Connor was texting me nonstop from his wedding reception, asking where I was and saying I'd embarrassed him in front of Brianna's family. I turned my phone off and ordered another round of breadsticks. Maya and I made plans to meet up again next month when she comes back for her next doctor's appointment. She wants me to meet Jake and see their house. I'm going to be a grandpa to the child of my son's ex-wife. Storied, walk it off. Stop being a baby, my wife yelled as I lay motionless on the ground. Her brother smirked. Her sister screamed I'd ruined her birthday. But when the paramedics saw I couldn't feel my legs, she quietly radioed for police backup. The MRI revealed something that would change everything. Chapter 1. The fall no one cared about. It was supposed to be a celebration. My wife Maya had insisted we attend her sister's birthday party at a rented lake house 2 hours outside the city. I'd just wrapped a brutal week at work. Back-to-back meetings, deadlines, late nights. But Maya wouldn't hear excuses. "You promised to be there," she said, arms crossed. "It's family. Don't make everything about your job." I nodded, already tired. But I loved her. At least I thought I did. We arrived late. Her whole family was already there. Her sister Rachel playing hostess in a glittery white dress. Maya's younger brother Zane cracking beers in the backyard. And Maya herself slipping seamlessly into her old role as the favorite child. I was the outsider. I always had been. The afternoon wore on. The music got louder. The drinking got heavier. I tried to stay present. Offered to help with the grill. Refilled drinks. Even smiled through Rachel's passive-aggressive digs about real men knowing how to use tools. Then Zane challenged me to a stupid game, the kind that's only funny when you've had 5 drinks too many. Let's see if your office legs can beat me at birthday tackle. He laughed, tossing a football high into the air. Come on, man. You can still run, right? I didn't want to. I told them I had back problems from a car accident years ago, that I shouldn't be roughhousing. But the crowd was already jeering, Maya included. Oh my God, she groaned loudly. Just walk it off if you fall. Stop being such a baby. And then it happened. Zane charged at me. Not in fun, not by accident, with full force. Shoulder lowered, grin wide. The kind of hit that doesn't end with laughter. I felt my spine twist midair before I even hit the ground. Then silence. Just silence in the distant crack of the birthday playlist. My vision swam. The world tilted sideways. I tried to move my legs. Nothing. I blinked once, twice. Still nothing. Dude, that was epic. Zane howled. Maya was laughing too for a moment until I didn't get up. Seriously? Rachel snapped, arms on her hips. You're going to ruin my birthday by pretending to be injured? What are you, 12? I can't move. I croaked. Stillness. Zane's smirk wavered. Maya stepped forward, the smile fading from her lips. But instead of concern, her voice was coated in annoyance. Stop it. This isn't funny anymore. Just get up. But I couldn't. I was trying. That's when someone, not family, stepped in. One of the other guests had called 911. I didn't even know who. Everything was a blur. The paramedic who knelt beside me was quiet, calm, professional. She asked questions, checked my pulse, touched my legs. I didn't flinch. And then she gently leaned to her radio and said words I'll never forget. No visible trauma, but no response below the waist, requesting police presence at the scene. Possible assault. Suspicious mechanism of injury. My wife looked up, stunned. Zane froze, his beer half raised. What the hell does she mean? Assault? Rachel hissed. But I just lay there staring at the sky. Because somewhere deep down in my gut, in my heart, I knew this wasn't an accident. And that paramedic had just become my only ally. Chapter 2. The MRI that shattered everything. The ambulance ride was surreal. I couldn't feel the stretcher under me. My arms trembled. My spine buzzed with static, like my body was trying to scream, but couldn't remember how. Maya rode in the front with one of the EMTs. She didn't ask to sit beside me in the back. She didn't even glance at me as they loaded me in. The paramedic who stayed with me, Talia, her badge read, kept speaking in calm, low tones. You're in shock. Don't try to move. Focus on breathing. We'll get a trauma scan done as soon as we arrive. I nodded weakly. Behind her professional calm, I could tell she knew something was wrong. Not just physically, situationally. At the ER, they rushed me into imaging the second we arrived. X-rays, CT-MR, contrast dye injections. Numbness was spreading down my lower spine like frostbite. I heard words like possible compression fracture, cord impingement, and T12 to L1 instability. A nurse looked visibly shaken when she read the notes in my intake file and saw the paramedic's logged comments. Patient states he was tackled from behind. No protective gear, sudden axial trauma. Family downplayed injury at scene. Patient immobile for 11+ minutes before assistance given. Maya's performance hours later, Maya finally came in. Lip gloss fresh. No hospital bracelet, no paperwork, just holding a Starbucks cup like she'd stopped by after errands. She sat on the edge of the bed. So what's the drama now? She said too softly to be heard by the nurse. I stared at her. I can't feel my legs, Maya. She blinked, then shrugged. So, what's the plan? Surgery, rehab, or whatever? You'll get better, right? There was no fear in her voice, no panic, just inconvenience. And in that moment, I realized she wasn't worried I was paralyzed. She was worried I was still alive. The MRI results. A neurosurgeon came in around midnight, older man, silver glasses, a clipboard clutched too tightly. He pulled the curtain shut and said flatly, You have a burst fracture at your T12 vertebrae. It's pinching your spinal cord. The paralysis is real. Maya inhaled sharply, finally showing emotion. Oh my God, so you really can't walk? She didn't say, Are you okay? She said, So it's real? The doctor frowned. Given the force of impact and the clean axial load, this wasn't a trip and fall. He was struck with deliberate weight. Hard, excuse me, Maya snapped. Are you accusing someone? I'm documenting what the scan shows, he said slowly. If this was intentional, you need to contact law enforcement. I didn't speak. I didn't need to because the quiet look Talia gave me earlier when she had radioed for backup now made perfect sense. She knew this wasn't a freak accident. She knew someone wanted me down. The hidden motive begins to emerge. While I lay awake that night, drugged, wired to machines, tubes in both arms, Maya sat scrolling through her phone. She didn't hold my hand. She didn't touch my face. Instead, she whispered into her phone, "No, he's not dead." Yeah. Yet I don't know what happens if he can't walk. Yes. I'll call the lawyer tomorrow. That's when the seed of revenge took root. Because I remembered something I hadn't thought about in months. A life insurance policy Maya insisted I sign last year. A durable power of attorney. And most chilling of all, a clause in my will that she had drafted using an online template. In the event of incapacitation or vegetative state, all assets default to spouse without conservatorship delay. She wasn't just waiting for me to heal. She was hoping I wouldn't. And as I lay motionless, something inside me clicked. This wasn't just betrayal. It was attempted murder disguised as a birthday joke. Chapter 3, Her Brother's Confession. 2 days after the MRI, I was transferred from the trauma ward to a spinal rehab unit. The air smelled like antiseptic and rubber gloves. The hallway echoed with quiet beeps and wheeled carts. I had metal rods in my back now, T12 to L2 stabilization. Still no feeling below the waist. Maya hadn't visited since the morning after the surgery. She claimed she was handling paperwork. She said she couldn't look at me like this. She texted, "You're being dramatic. You're still alive. I need space to process all this, but the police did visit. And so did someone else." The interview detective Alan came in plain clothes, quiet, professional. He didn't start with accusations. He asked about the day, the game, the hit, what I remembered, how I landed, if there had been prior tension. I told him the truth. Zane tackled me during a rough game and I had warned them not to. Alan nodded, writing slowly. "Funny thing," he said after a pause. "When we reviewed the 911 call logs, we found something strange." "What?" Zane called 911 but not for help. He accidentally butt-dialed it just before the tackle. Dispatch recorded 28 seconds of audio and caught something. He played the recording on his phone. I heard voices. Faint but clear. "Zane. He's annoying. Thinks he's too good for us. Watch this." Then Maya, "Don't actually hurt him. Just scare him." Zane again. "Relax. Just enough to take him down a peg." Then silence and the crack of my body hitting the ground. "It wasn't a prank," I whispered. "It was planned." Alan didn't smile. "We're not calling it an accident anymore." The financial trail? Later that day, my best friend Marcus stopped by. He was a software engineer, the kind of guy who knew how to find things people wanted hidden. He came bearing Starbucks and a file folder. "You need to see this," he said, sliding it onto my lap. I pulled some bank records. "Remember that power of attorney Maya made you sign?" "Yeah." "She's been busy inside were printouts, large withdrawals from our joint account, funneled into a separate one in her name. A retainer paid to a divorce attorney dated 3 days before the birthday party. And the kicker, a transfer from my life insurance payout account, marked pre-claim beneficiary adjustment." "She changed the beneficiary," Marcus said quietly. "To herself alone. No more shared allocation?" I stared at the numbers, my hands shaking. "She didn't just want to hurt me," I murmured. "She wanted to finish me." Zane slips. That evening, Detective Allen stopped by again, smirking. "We had a little chat with your brother-in-law, and he thought he was clever. Said it was just a prank gone wrong. But then he got cocky. Bragged that you'd be stuck in bed while Maya takes the house. He said that he did, and we recorded it. That was the moment it shifted from accident to conspiracy, from hospital stay to criminal investigation. Zane was under review for assault causing bodily harm. Maya under suspicion of premeditated fraud. The nurse's warning. Later that night, as the hallway lights dimmed and the machines beeped gently beside me, Talia, the paramedic from that day, stepped quietly into my room. She wasn't on duty anymore. She wore civilian clothes and looked tired, but her eyes were sharp. "I shouldn't be here," she whispered. "But I thought you should know." "Now what?" Maya called dispatch yesterday, asked if she could request edits to the EMS report, said it made her family look bad. She what? We denied it. But that's not why I'm here. Talia pulled something from her purse, a flash drive. This is my body cam footage from that day, the full recording. "Why are you giving me this?" "Because when I asked if anyone had tried to hurt you before, your wife hesitated. I saw it. She knew what happened wasn't an accident. And one day, someone's going to try to bury the truth." She handed it to me, eyes fierce. "Don't let them." As she left, I stared at the tiny drive in my hand and realized something chilling. Maya hadn't just wanted me silenced. She thought she had. But now I had evidence, witnesses, motive, a confession. And soon I'd have a plan. Chapter 4, the will she forgot about. The hospital lights never truly go dark. At 3:14 a.m., I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the faint whir of machines humming around me. The flash drive Talia had given me rested on the tray beside the bed like a loaded weapon. And then I remembered something Maya had forgotten. My original will. Not the one she had me resign after we got married. The one she drafted using an online form and pushed in front of me with a wine glass in hand. No, I had one before her. One written with my family lawyer, Mr. Ezra Navid, who had represented my parents for 2 decades. It was tucked away in a safety deposit box. Maya had never known it existed because that will granted conditional survivorship, not automatic inheritance, protected assets in the event of intentional harm or incapacitation. And most importantly, it named my cousin Lena, not Maya, as trustee and medical proxy, and I had never revoked it. A lawyer's visit. The next morning I called Ezra. He was quiet on the phone. Too quiet. When I told him everything, the tackle, the MRI, the body cam footage, the insurance policy changes, there was a long pause. "She tried to murder you for a payout," he finally said, "and when it didn't work, she switched tactics." "Can we act?" I asked. "We already are." 2 days later, Ezra walked into my hospital room in a navy blue suit, holding a leather folder. Beside him stood a notary and Lena. Maya wasn't there. "This," Ezra said, tapping the papers, "is the reinstatement of your original medical and financial proxy. We're filing it retroactively under the Survivorship Protection Clause in your 2018 will. Given the circumstances and the ongoing criminal investigation, it overrides the new documents she made you sign." "What about the house?" I asked. "Still in your name." But more importantly, he pulled out a second folder, one marked confidential in bold red letters. "This is the irrevocable trust you authorized years ago, the one we filed when your father passed away. It includes your savings, pension, investments, all protected by a fraud shield." She never knew it existed, I blinked. "So even if she filed for divorce, she'd get nothing," he said, "and we're about to make sure she knows that." The confrontation, silent, surgical. That evening, Maya finally returned. She was dressed casually, yoga pants, full makeup, no sign of stress, but her energy was different. She was performative. She tried to kiss my cheek. I turned away. "Baby, I've been so overwhelmed," she said, voice trembling slightly. "This has been hard on me, too. You don't know what it's like seeing you like this." I stared blankly. She went on about stress, trauma, not knowing if you'd ever walk again. Then she pulled out a legal envelope. "I had to protect us," she said. "So I started the process for limited conservatorship just until you're better. I talked to a lawyer and you talked to 2 lawyers," I said finally. "The second one was a divorce lawyer. You hired them 3 days before my accident." Her face froze. "How do you—" I reached beside the bed and handed her a copy of her bank statement. Then the footage from the paramedic's body cam. Then the police transcript of Zane's confession. "You wanted me out of the way," I said. "And when I didn't die, you started planning how to profit off the damage." She stood there in silence, shaking. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she whispered. "It was Zane. He took it too far. You told him to just scare me. He followed your lead." Her eyes widened. "You heard that?" "The police did." And then I slid the final envelope across the table. The one from Ezra. Inside was a revocation notice of all shared financial ties, a restraining order application, and a formal notice of separation with cause. "You're not my proxy anymore," I said calmly. "You're not my wife either. Not after today, the exit." She didn't scream. She didn't throw anything. She just stood there, realizing slowly that she had lost everything. Not because I lashed out in rage, but because I let the truth destroy her without ever raising my voice. "This isn't over," she said, eyes burning. "You're still in that bed." "And yet I'm 10 steps ahead of you," I replied. She left without looking back. I exhaled for the first time in days. Final chapter 5. The day the police knocked on her door. 1 week after Maya walked out of my hospital room, the investigation exploded. What had started as a birthday accident was now a full-blown criminal case with 2 suspects, a digital trail, and a motive even a jury would understand. And it all began with Zane's panic. Zane breaks. Faced with charges of aggravated assault and now a likely civil lawsuit for medical damages, Zane folded faster than cheap lawn furniture. It was Maya, he told investigators. She planted the idea. He handed over messages, texts, voice memos. In one, Maya sent him a voice note 2 days before the party. "You know how he always acts like he's better than everyone? I swear if he fell and got hurt just a little, maybe then he'd be forced to stop micromanaging everything. He needs to learn his place. Just a little scare. Not actual damage, except the damage was real. And now her own brother was testifying against her in exchange for a reduced sentence." The knock at her door. On a rainy Thursday afternoon, while Maya was filming a yoga video for her social media channel, still pretending nothing had happened, 2 detectives knocked on her door. She opened it with a forced smile. "Can I help you out?" "Maya, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit felony assault, attempted insurance fraud, and tampering with medical directives." Her face dropped, caught not just by the officer's eyes, but by her own front door security camera, which live-streamed the whole thing to her followers. The video went viral. The yoga instructor who tried to paralyze her husband for money, for freedom, for greed. The courtroom fallout. In court, I didn't have to testify. The evidence spoke for itself. Zane's confession. The body cam footage bank records the forged insurance change, the legal document she tried to override. Her lawyer tried to argue stress, claimed she never intended harm, but the texts, the voice messages, the smirk at the tackle, they told the real story. Maya took a plea deal, no contest in exchange for a lighter sentence. Zane received probation, a permanent record, and court-mandated anger therapy. I walked, or rather rolled, out of that courtroom knowing they both lost something far more permanent than I did. The real recovery months passed. With rehab, spinal therapy, and relentless discipline, I regained partial mobility. Not full, not yet, but enough to walk with braces and crutches. The doctors say I may walk unaided again, but honestly, that's not the recovery I care most about. The real healing came the moment I took my life back. One signature, one decision, one truth at a time. Epilogue. The garden outside my window. I moved out of the city and into a quieter part of town. Small cottage, a therapy dog, and silence I hadn't known I craved. Every morning I sit by the window with coffee, watching the backyard bloom. A garden I planted myself inch by inch using muscles they said might never work again. And in the center of that garden, a stone reads, "Some pain breaks you. Some pain builds you. The trick is knowing who handed you the hammer and choosing not to become them." I'm not the man I was before the fall. I'm better because revenge, real revenge, doesn't leave you empty.